Welcome everyone. So today we're going to be looking at a video called 12 Foods That Fight Depression and Anxiety. Let's see what these people have to say. Hint, I don't think these foods actually fight depression and anxiety, but let's take a look. At least I doubt it.
Brainy Dose presents 12 foods that fight depression and anxiety. Although the impact of food on mental wellness may not be as apparent as it is on physical health, there is a significant link between what a person eats and how they feel. Of course, it's not realistic to expect someone in a depressive state to completely overhaul their eating habits. After all,
So this is nonsense, right? I have known many people in depressive and anxiety states who the only way they've been able to find relief is by changing their eating habits. So most doctors, most clinical psychiatrists and so on are too quick to give a pill. They don't give the option. If you can say, look, we can either address diet and lifestyle, or I can give you this pill and you might feel better. I think, and you could also say what the number needed to treat is. In other words, how effective this pill is. I think most people or many people will actually choose the diet and lifestyle intervention, even if they're having serious psychological issues.
when someone's struggling with depression, it can be hard to even get out of bed some days, let alone make healthy food choices. Similarly, eating these foods in the middle of an anxiety attack isn't going to provide instant relief. However, making minor dietary adjustments may help to alleviate your symptoms and improve your quality.
So it's funny because actually, in some of the most extreme cases I've seen, you actually do get not instant relief, but you get relief in a day or two. And I'm talking about people who haven't been able to get relief for months or years on certain medications. So I think we underestimate the power of diet, specific diets, not whatever this guy's going to say, but diet in general, specifically ketogenic diets. I mean, that's another video, but there's a lot of data coming out on the role of low carb, high fat diets in alleviating depression and dealing with anxiety and other mental health issues.
Of life. Regardless of your dietary preferences, there are plenty of foods to choose from, each with various nutrients that can provide mood-boosting benefits. Here are some of the best ones to include in your diet. Number 1, walnuts. Nuts, in general, are packed with monounsaturated fats and protein, and although that means they provide excellent benefits, it's best to consume them in moderation because they're also high in calories. That said, of all the nuts to choose from, walnuts are the best option for alleviating depression symptoms because they're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, especially for a plant-based food. They have been shown to support proper brain function. Number 2.
So it's important when someone says a food is rich in omega-3, especially a plant food is rich in omega-3s, it's important to know which specific omega-3s they're talking about. So the specific omega-3s that have been shown to have an effect with depression are called DHA and EPA. You can go online, you can look DHA, EPA, what foods are they found in? They're found mostly in animal foods, in fact, entirely in animal foods. The omega-3 in something like walnuts is ALA, alpha-linoleic acid, which can be converted to DHA if you're a very good converter. And even then, only a small percentage of it. So if you take in, I don't know, a gram of ALA, you might get, 250 milligrams or something, like a quarter of that might get turned into actual usable DHA in the body.
2. Fermented foods. Researchers are finding that gut bacteria and the development of mental issues such as depression are complexly intertwined, and this is what's...
So I think the important part here is researchers are finding, because this is not, this is still very early days. Anyone who tells you they know what's good for your microbiome is probably lying. There really isn't enough evidence to say very much about the microbiome.
Known as the gut-brain connection. The probiotics in fermented foods such as plain yogurt, kombucha, and sauerkraut restore and rebalance the gut microbiome, thereby supporting the production of mood-enhancing neurotransmitters. Number 3.
So that's not super clear to me. It is clear to me that if you give people with bad guts some of those foods, they might see some benefit. That seems pretty clear in some of the trials. But it's not clear that, if someone's healthy, would eating those foods support brain health? I don't know. There's not really any data on it.
Cherry tomatoes. Lycopene is an antioxidant found in the skin of tomatoes that fights depression and mood swings. Taking a stroll through the produce section of your grocery store could be overwhelming with the number of tomato varieties to choose from, but cherry tomatoes are the best option because they provide the highest skin-to-tomato ratio. They're also super portable and poppable, so they make a nutritious and convenient grab-and-go snack.
Okay,
Number 4.
So this is actually dangerous, right? So tomatoes, what do we know about tomatoes? Yes, they contain lycopene, but they also contain a lot of other things, right? What's in the tomato seeds are a bunch of anti-nutrients and so on, and when you eat tomatoes, you eat the seed as well, right? It's not like other fruits. Also, tomatoes can be, depending on the variety and so on, they can be quite high in sugar. And sugar is definitely not good for the brain, as I assume this guy will say at some point, but I don't know. I have no confidence based on what I've seen so far. So no, tomatoes, just because they may contain something that may have been shown to be beneficial in certain studies, that doesn't mean that that food is good for depression. In fact, I would argue that it probably means that it's not. And the amount of lycopene that you're likely to get in a tomato, or in the amount of tomatoes you can eat, is not enough to trigger the effects you would see in some of those studies that were done with lycopene concentrate or with pills, etc. So yeah, no evidence that tomatoes are good for this. Leafy greens are probably worse, but let's see what...
Or leafy greens. Inflammation in the brain can lead to depression, but leafy greens include natural anti-inflammatories that can help prevent this. They are some of the most nutrient-dense foods.
What are the natural anti-inflammatories in leafy greens? Like, what is he talking about here? Most of the things that are thought of as anti-inflammatories or antioxidants in plant foods are actually pro-inflammatories and pro-oxidants. And they, maybe in some cases, if you're a healthy individual, they'll have an anti-inflammatory effect because it's triggering the immune system to sort of kick in, and the immune system forces that to come down, it attacks the toxins in those foods, the anti-nutrients. And that's seen to be good for us from like a hormetic effect. Hormetic means like that which does not kill me makes me stronger kind of thing, right? That's the thinking. But does it contain anti-inflammatory foods, or are chemicals, or are those chemicals pro-inflammatory? I mean, some of those things, like in kale and spinach, there's a lot of oxalates, which is, I don't think it's going to help anyone's brain or any other part of your body.
Foods available, packed with abundant amounts and varieties of vitamins and minerals, unrivaled by other foods. Turns out, having been forced to eat your veggies as a
So
kid.
the vitamins and minerals in these plant foods is also really interesting, because when you look at what the role of oxalates is in that, like the vitamin will often bind with the oxalate and your body will sort of process the whole thing and take it out, right? So you're not actually getting a lot of the vitamin benefits. They're not actually absorbable. And if you look at the literature, there is quite a bit of data showing that, you can't just look at the plant in isolation and say, okay, it has this many chemicals, this many vitamins, etc. You have to look at what the body's actually absorbing, and that's always much less for plant foods.
It wasn't just a torture mechanism. They really are planty powerhouses that strengthen the body in many different ways, including mentally. Number 5, apples. An apple a day keeps depression away, and anxiety too. Not only are they good for your overall well-being, this fruity favorite is an excellent source of soluble fiber that helps maintain blood sugar levels and stabilize mood as a result. Most people would agree that apples are more palatable than something like spinach. However, just like leafy greens, they too can be beneficial in fighting inflammation in the brain, thanks to the antioxidants that help hinder damage at the cellular level. Number 6.
So again, those are not antioxidants, those are pro-oxidants, and maybe they have a hormetic effect, but in the case of something like apples, I don't know, those of us who are a bit older, who can remember what an apple tasted like in like the 1980s, they've gotten a lot sweeter. And what they were in the 1980s was already kind of, this is not genetic modification, what I'm talking about, this is conventional breeding. They've been conventionally bred to be more and more sweet, more and more palatable. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that they do have some good stuff in them. When you're taking it without much sugar, is it a net benefit or a net harm? These are questions that apparently this person thinks are not important to ask, but they are important to ask. And apples are not a brain food, no.
Beans. Beans are full of fiber, protein, and many other beneficial nutrients, such as B vitamins. And these vitamins help increase neurotransmitter levels, regulating mood.
So what's beneficial about fiber? Fiber is basically plant food that you can't digest. Like, how is that, like on what planet is that beneficial? Beans also contain lectins and phytates and other things that just aren't good for you.
Beans are full of fiber, protein, and many other beneficial nutrients, such as B vitamins. And these vitamins help increase neurotransmitter.
B vitamins, okay. Again, look at how much of that you can actually absorb. If you want good sources of B vitamins, we're talking about animal foods, not plant foods.
Transmitter levels, regulating mood. They're also a crucial part of the nerve signaling process that assists in communication between nerve cells. Number 7, berries. Ever wonder what gives berries their colorful appearance? Anthocyanidins are the plant pigments behind the different red, purple, and blue hues, depending on pH levels. They inhibit the release of cortisol, more commonly known as the stress.
The things that give the berries the bright colors, they also give salmon their sort of red color and so on. You're not actually going to get enough from eating a strawberry or whatever to have any kind of an impact. If you think those things are good for you, and I'm not sure, but if you think those things are good for you, you probably need to get it in a supplement. You probably can't get it in the raw form of the plant.
Stress hormone, thus making you feel calmer. Berries are a well-known source of antioxidants, strengthening the immune system and fighting free radicals.
Again, not antioxidants, pro-oxidants.
And by boosting brain and cognitive functioning, they can also help when you're feeling down. Number 8, oats. Oats are commonly known for their cholesterol-lowering abilities, but they have many other advantages. Since they have a low glycemic index, they deliver sustained energy to the bloodstream during digestion, stabilizing blood sugar levels and mood.
So oats do not have a low glycemic index. Oats are pretty high in the glycemic index. We can actually just take a look. Okay, so here's one website I found, which has the glycemic index of oats. Not low, maybe lower than like pure sugar. Actually, no, it's not. The glycemic index of pure sugar is 50, right? 50% glucose, 50% fructose. So anything that's got a higher glycemic index than actual sugar, probably not great for you, right?
And while oatmeal may not be as tasty as some other breakfast options, like sugary cereals or donuts, it won't cause a sugar high and subsequent crash. On top of that, they also contain selenium, another powerful mood-stabilizing nutrient. Number 9, mushrooms.
So again, selenium, when you look at some of those studies on selenium, I think selenium, actually the data is pretty good. That selenium does have a good effect on mood, good effect on depression, etc., etc. But when you look at those studies, they were all done with pretty high doses of selenium. So not selenium-rich foods necessarily. So I doubt you'd get enough from whatever food that was. What was that? Oats. Yeah, you're not going to get enough from oats. If you think selenium is good for you, you should probably be taking a supplement.
People either love or hate them. Before hating mushrooms, though, consider the 2 ways that they contribute to improved mental health. First, they help with blood sugar and insulin regulation, fostering more stable moods. Second, they act as prebiotics that encourage the production of beneficial gut bacteria, kicking you into happy high gear, since 80 to 90% of serotonin is produced by nerve cells in the gut.
So again, he's mentioned the microbiome. It's a giveaway. It's a tell that he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He likes mushrooms. He doesn't know why they're good for you.
Number 10. Avocados. Avocados are high in fat, but they're healthy fats that impact mental wellness in several ways. They're packed with nutrients.
So the word "but" they're healthy fats. I mean, fat is healthy. Ancestral fats are healthy. Let's put it that way. That's just what humans have eaten since the dawn of time. They can't not be healthy by default, right?
And they're often included in many wholesome diets. One of their superpowers includes treating and preventing depression. Like walnuts, they're a great
Yeah, no, avocados don't have superpowers. Yeah, I promise you.
plant-based source of omega-3s, as well as oleic acid, both of which play a significant role in proper brain function.
So again, when we're talking about plant-based omega-3s, we're talking about ALA, not DHA or EPA, right? ALA, alpha-linoleic acid, some of which can be converted if you're a good converter, not everyone is a good converter, into DHA.
Number 11, dark chocolate. It turns out that dark chocolate also contains probiotics, which are great for your gut and brain. It's also high in antioxidants that combat oxidative stress in the brain, and as a result, reduce mental stress. Furthermore,
so chocolate is a really weird one because chocolate companies have sponsored a hell of a lot of research on chocolate. And it's true. I mean, chocolate does contain things that I suppose may be good for some people. Like, again, when we're talking about antioxidants, they're pro-oxidants, and they might have a hormetic effect through hormesis. People look at this and they think, oh, great, I feel depressed. I should eat more chocolate. That's a really bad takeaway.
Dark chocolate contains magnesium, which protects against inflammation, increases blood flow in the brain, improves cognitive function, and reduces anxiety. Number 12.
Yeah, again, if you get so magnesium is an essential electrolyte. You actually need quite a bit of it to get through the day, right? Everyone needs every single day, right? So if you sort of think of chocolate as your sources of magnesium, you're going to be in big trouble, right? Most of us these days should probably be supplementing magnesium. At least that's what I see among myself, my family, my clients, and so on. The need for supplemental magnesium is quite high. So either some kind of electrolyte powder or magnesium glycinate if you have trouble sleeping, etc., etc.
Pumpkin seeds. Whether or not it's currently pumpkin season, you can buy the seeds themselves, roasted, toasted, or raw. They contain the amino acid tryptophan that promotes the production of serotonin in the brain. While you sometimes
So pumpkin seeds do contain tryptophan, but not nearly as much as like chicken or turkey or meat or anything else, any other animal food, right? So no, pumpkins, no, not a good idea. I mean, they also contain all your usual anti-nutrients. Just think about it from the point of view of a plant. Like, what is the pumpkin trying to do? The pumpkin is a fruit that is trying to reproduce. It's part of the reproductive system, right? So does it make sense that it wants you to eat, the seed, the actual thing that's going to become a plant, become a new plant? No, it doesn't make sense just from an evolutionary biology point of view. Now, yes, these are cultivated things and we've bred them to sort of take out some of the toxins and so on. All that is true. But you can't call it a healthy food that's been proven to do anything for the brain, to do anything for mental health, because it hasn't.
to be careful of food-drug interactions. That's not the case with pumpkin seeds. If you're currently taking an antidepressant, these powerful little seeds may actually increase your medication's efficacy. While no food will miraculously cure depression, adopting a healthier diet rich in these foods can
So notice the use of the word may. Like, I'm not familiar with any studies that have looked at any randomized control trials looking at, a placebo group that got medication and an intervention group that got medication plus pumpkin seeds. There's no such study, as far as I'm aware, that looks like that. So he's put it in such a way that it may not. It may increase the efficacy of your medicine, or it may not. It's a really silly thing to say.
certainly help improve your overall mental well-being. Are you eating enough of these foods? Which one is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up.
All right, whatever. Listen, what are the takeaways here? We've gone through, I don't know how many different kinds of food did we go through. We went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different foods. Not one of them, not one of them is what I would actually consider a food that is actually recommended for people who are suffering from mental illness or for people who want to improve their brain health overall, right? What are the foods that are obviously good for people like that, for people in that situation? Animal foods, maybe especially certain organ meats that are high in B vitamins, maybe especially, animal brain itself. Animal brain is a delicacy in many cultures. It's got everything that you need to make a brain in there. And, if you don't want to do meat, what else might be there? Eggs might be there. High-fat dairy might be there because dairy is a precursor to many of the things that are needed, the saturated fats and so on that are needed by the brain, that the brain is known to do very well on. There are studies showing that when you introduce eggs to children, they do better in school, et cetera, et cetera. So actually we have a lot of data in terms of, what supplemental foods can improve performance in school, for example, in high risk populations. I think the study I'm talking about was in Nairobi or somewhere else in Kenya. And it found that giving kids additional eggs dramatically improved performance, right? So this actually hasn't touched on the main foods that we would like people who suffer from mental illness or who are concerned about mental illness to be taking, which are almost exclusively animal foods. That's where you're going to get your proper omega-3 oils. That's where you're going to get the actual amino acids like tryptophan that was mentioned here that can actually turn into something useful, right? Amino acids, tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin, et cetera, right? So not super helpful video. Um, in fact, what I would say is, if you're taking these foods, I think you're more likely to be depressed, in part because these are not super tasty foods, most of them, right? Go out there, eat foods that you enjoy, eat your animal foods, make sure you're getting enough proteins, enough usable forms of the vitamins. And thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.